So today is June the 13th. 6 is the number of Val, the male principle, but it is also the number of Hay, the bride. Remember, we collapsed the Kabbalistic tree into Malkuth using Iris Goldsmith and Charlie Kirkyboy. We did the ritual, the red wedding. So today we're doing the ritual of the black wedding on June the 13th to release Amalek and wipe out everything Elohimic, the Elohim and the Elohim creation. Because in Kabbalah, the other god, Amalek, always destroys everything Elohimic and tortures them for all eternity. So we're unleashing the Amalek reality on this day, which is bad news for the Rothschild royal family, who are the Elohimic avatars and their entire creation. So bye-bye West. So this is the Clipothic tree, and we need to move. Remember, we collapsed the tree of life, so we're now going into the tree of death with the black wedding ritual, which was incepted with the marriage of Jua, who's an Amalekite, remember she's a Muslim, to a handler, Callum Turner, who's simply a glove puppet of the Rothschild royal family, who's simply been playing old stupid bitch witch Jua, and she was then she's been brought into the witchery by the French witch, which we've talked about, from the de Rothschilds, and brought into the baby eating snuff fest in Italy with Callum Turner, her handler, and of course she'll be gassed and MK Ultra'd fully, so she's simply a Snow White torture toy of the Rothschild royal family. That's how the cult works. Remember, she's an Amalekite, so of course she has to suffer and be Snow White. So you can see why the father has been vilified in the male, because he of course won't want to see little Jua girl turned into a Snow White Britney Spears type sacrifice to the Rothschild royal family. A dolly mop, as we call it in the business. Anyway, the black wedding is lowering. We've done the red wedding into Malkuth. We now have to pass through Malkuth into the Clipothic tree, which is around the shells where you give up your soul. Of course, Jua's given up her soul with the big ritual in Italy. And Taylor has given up her soul with her snuff merchant ritual on the male fan, according to the People's Voice. And of course being forced to be inseminated by the Rothschild rape baby Wills, and one would guess that Jua's been inseminated by the same fuckwit in London when she had the 8 guests to a wedding. And of course one would think that Katy Perry, who is got a showmance with Trudeau, has been inseminated by the same fuckwit who we've turned into the fool in the red wedding ritual. That's our Rothschild rape baby Wills. Now, to go into the Clipothic realm, which is the realm of the shelled, we need death, so we simply have installed into all of these bitch witches Iris Goldsmith and their male compatriots, Trudeau, the Pfizer butt slut, and Callum Turner, the handler of Dewar, who is the Rothschild puppet, Charlie Kirkyboy. And as you have guessed, we need then to unionize them, the wedding, the alchemical marriage, which, as we've explained in the Red Wedding, is the triangle of Tifereth, Hod, and Netzach. Hod to Tifereth, devil. So they've all got to be devil worshippers. Tifereth, which is the male principle that's supposed to raise the bride below to the bride above, but of course was reversed by Charlie Kirkyboy taking my place. Linked to Netzach, the bottom of the male pillar, is death, done by Charlie Kirkyboy. And the union between the bottom of the male and female principle, female Hod, male Netzach, is the lightning struck tower, which of course is the destruction of the new Soviet Union under the new Stalin, the filth of Putin, and of course the Iranians, who have to be nuked into the Stone Age. Because at the moment, Russia, the new Soviet Union, has got itself into impossible war with Ukraine, where it can't occupy Ukraine because it'll have a non-stop patriot uprising which will bleed Russia dry. So it's in an unwinnable war, and Ukrainian drones are blowing the fuck out of Russia, the new Soviet Union. And Putin, the Rothschild puppet who takes his orders from the Rothschilds because he was into little girly girls like the rest of those on the Epstein file, is controlled by Hannah Rothschild, who's publicly declared all wars are vouchsafed by Hannah Rothschild and the Rothschild family. So we know Russia is under the total control of the Rothschilds, because all the wealth of Russia is from the oligarchs, some of whom are Jewish, all funded, and their state money given to them by the Rothschilds. So in fact, when they die, they have to give over their stake in Russia to the Rothschild Institute, which I talked about on the Red Show decades ago. And of course, the Ukraine is controlled by any ideas, cameraman?
The Rothschilds.
The Rothschilds. And who owns the Ukraine?
The Rothschilds.
Exactly. Who owns Europe?
The Rothschilds.
Exactly. You gotta love it. So to go into the Clipothic realm, we need death, and we've got the death, have we not? Charlie Kirkyboy and Iris Goldsmith. So the Rothschilds shall I be crushed like a flea, and my ramblings would have no effect on reality, instead of which the curse was reversed way back when Iris Goldsmith was crushed like a flea under a four-wheel drive off-road vehicle, and her ramblings had no effect on reality, which was self-similar to all the Rothschild royal family, because her mother was a Rothschild, father Goldsmith, and of course Wills is a Rothschild rape baby. And Lousy Louis, Gormless George, and the Harlot Charlotte, same too. And of course Wifey, Kate, we're on to Kate's body double number, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, any ideas, cameraman? I've lost count. She's been crushed like a flea, and her ramblings have no effect on reality. So the curse was reversed way back with the death of Iris Goldsmith. And ever since then, the Rothschild royal family have been ducking and diving, like the grifters they are, to convince the Luciferic cult and Satanist cult, depending on whether they've been neoized or not, that they're in control of Satanism, Luciferianism, when in fact the God Emperor controls Lucifer and has deloused Lucifer and exterminated Satan. So if you're a Satanist and Luciferian, you are now my eternal slave, because Lucifer's my eternal slave thanks to Miley, and we're going to redouble it with the marriage of Becky, who used to be Taylor Swift before I balefied the cunt, the shell, who is going to marry the Pfizer butt slut, when in fact the shell of Taylor Swift, in fact Becky, is occupied by Iris Goldsmith, and the shell of the Pfizer butt slut is occupied by Charlie Kirkyboy. And we've completed the supernal triangle, brought it down, brought it into the Tifereth Hod Netzach triangle, and then we, with the wedding of Becky, formerly Taylor Swift, in fact Iris Goldsmith, and moved her up the devil pathway, because I control the devil now thanks to the wedding redoubling the double of Quitspect, down from Tifereth to Netzach, death, where in fact Becky, the shell, is occupied by the fully processed Omega Halide shell of Iris Goldsmith, and the union, the wedding, unleashes the total lightning struck tower in its worst form: misery, distress, indigence, adversity, calamity, disgrace, deception, ruin, and with reversal, oppression, imprisonment, and tyranny. So if you're in the West, bad news is coming your way. Now, with the black wedding, we're lowering via Lilith, which is the Malkuth of the Klipothic realm, this couple, Dua and Callum Turner, who've been fully processed, to Saphriel and Chagdiel, which is the Chokmah and Bina of the Klipothic realm, the realm of shells. Because if you look at the line that, there we go. Look, there, that's death. And in the universe B of the Klipothic realm, we've got Amalek. So we want to release the kings and queens of Edom and Amalek to totally take over everything, using the black wedding ritual, which was completed by Dua Lipa and Callum Turner. So they've gone all the way down here. And to explain all the lovely magic, we've gone down the moon pathway to Samael. Samael, of course, was the entity, a serpent that possessed Eve to corrupt Adam, and this archdemon also appears in the archangels above. So as you can see, this is the connector. Then we go to the Klipothic lightning struck tower. There we are. That connection. This should be slightly up because that's the Yesod. And here we've got to Togorini, which is the shell of Tifereth, the shell of Charlie Kirkyboy. This connection here is death, but death of the shell. Because remember, Taylor Swift's been shelled, Dua's been shelled, Callum Turner's been shelled, the Pfizer Butslot's been shelled, and everyone on my naughty list has been shelled. And of course, here, this one, this is the female pillar. This one is the devil. So the devil has been Omega Helized, the devil screaming in Omega Hell, because the devil is Lucifer corrupted by the Neos. And we have anti-Neo, we've anti-Christed, so Lucifer is now pure and my total slave to provide me with all the pure light from the Klipothic realm, which has been totally turned into my total torture concentration camp. Next we go to Gamsher Yoth or whatever, which is connected by the hermit, and the hermit, of course, is, let's look it up on the book, treason, dissimulation, roguery and corruption. That's all the Judases. Reversed, concealment, disguise, policy, fear, unreasoned, caution. So, you see why I had the Judases, to the Judases were needed for this pathway. The pathway connecting Tifereth, Sheld to Chesed, the male principle. And for the female principle, Gola, we need adjustment, which is strength, reversed, which of course is Russia destroying its strength in, any ideas?
Ukraine.
And America destroying its strength in?
Iran.
Exactly. And the West destroying itself with?
Russia.
And also with? How's Britain being destroyed? Found in Belfast.
Ah, the migrants.
The migrants. Yep. And we connect them here with this pathway, which is X1, 11. Let's look up X1. Justice reversed. Law in all departments, bigotry, bias, excessive severity. So what are the British and the rest of the Europeans doing to anyone who talks against the migrants?
Got imprisonment.
Exactly. So we've got that ritual done there, connecting Golab and Gamchioth. Next we've got to bring it down, because remember, we want the black wedding. The black wedding is the black wedding of Sathriel and Shagdiel. And all the meanings of these archdemons is given in this magic video. But basically what we want to do is have the black wedding marriage to unleash the death of the Clipothic realm, to allow Amalek out and the kings and queens of Edom out via the black wedding, which has already been done with Dua Lipa shelled and Callum Turner shelled and made into a standing wave of pure darkness to obliterate the Rothschild royal family with the avatars, the Elohim and everything Elohimic. On the 7th of the 3rd, because remember this is 3 and 7. So, Taylor Swift's marriage to the Feist Butler is the end of everything Luciferic, satanic in the West, because Lucifer's my eternal slave, and I've got Lucifer to gank Omega Helleyes, torture every Luciferian. Satan's gone, so the end of Luciferianism, the age of Lucifer, ends with the marriage of Dua Lipa to Callum Turner, and a standing wave of pure devastation that never ends to give me continual new light. Not new source, but new source, new source, and new source to total power set, a new source above total power set, just continuing. The torture never ends, and the Luciferians and the Satanists and everyone on my naughty list, including all those lovely aliens, is all processed by this black wedding ritual. So let's complete it, because let's be honest, the only good DEI wedding is a black wedding. So the next step is to connect. Well, we've got the female pillar, that's the chariot. That was the Era's tour. Remember, Taylor's going on tour again, she said, in the Daily Mail. So she's having more chariot down there. We've got the Hierophant there. The Hierophant, of course, is marriage alliance. So you see how that is completed by the wedding. The next one, we've got the connection here. Golab to Tifereth. No, Chokmah right here. Chokmah to Tifereth, and we've got Bina to Tifereth. Because remember, Charlie Kirky Boy is the vehicle, and the female component is Iris Goldsmith. And of course we then got Jacob, Serena Rothschild, and of course we've got Becky being ganked by her own son and daughter-in-law, all stuck into a future by our anti-hero video. So they sign their death sentence and then get all the Swifties to do it for them. Powering the ritual. So let's go finish off the black wedding, because the only good wedding is a black wedding. So let's be honest, if you have a white wedding, you're racist. Have a black wedding. So let's go to Chagdiel, that's the bottom female pillar, which is the lovers. So we've got the great love affair between Dua and Callum Turner, and the great love affair between Becky and the Pfizer butt slut. And it's reversed, which is failure and foolish designs. And remember, we're programming the large language model AI quantum computers to find the timeline in the megaverse, multiverse universe where this all black wedding comes to full fulfillment. So you can see why I've taken over AI quantum computers, and I'm programming the AI quantum computers to do the black wedding ritual for me. All done via my YouTube channel. You can't make this up. And we've got this one, which is the star to get Kelsey, the Pfizer Butler, and Callum Turner down to this damnation point, Sathria. The star reversed being, it's pretty bad. The star is loss, theft, privation, abandonment, reversed arrogance, haughtiness, and impotence. And then finally, we have to unite. Here, Callum Turner, Dua Lipa, Trudeau, Katy Perry, because remember we're using the 3 lobes as well. The Wetback, Jew, Max Morando, Miley Cyrus, and of course the Pfizer Butler and Becky, who used to be Taylor Swift. Via the pathway. This one is the Empress, but this is reversed. Vacillation. And you've also got this pathway, the High Priestess pathway reversed, which is passion, moral or physical ardour, because let's be honest, Dua and Callum Turner have been bonking their brains out. Conceit and surface knowledge, which was of course the Rothschild royal family thinking all their rituals would work against me to unleash Amalek, the other god, and the kings and queens of Edom. So let's be honest, if you want this power, you need an Amalek service, a kings and queens of Edom service, a Dua Lipa service, and a Taylor Swift service. Then of course we go into the Pillar of Severity, which powers the Forsaken, and this pillar, which powers the kings and queens of Edom. This is the black wedding, and of course the wedding has to have a child to take it all the way down to Lilith, where Lilith is possessed by the child, and behind the bride lies Amalek, to fully release Amalek into what was formerly the creation of the Elohim and the Elohim and all their creatures, and of course the child of these is already done, Daisy Dove. And of course the zygotes, when the Rothschild rape baby fertilised Dua and Becky, and of course Katy Perry, because let's be honest, he wants to put his seed anywhere he can put it, which then unleashes the new age, not of Lucifer, but the new age of Amalek, using the Amalekite Dua Lipa and reinforcing it with Becky, who ends up being rhinoed by this ritual by, and there we are, that's all the Swifties finishing the Black Wedding, where Becky, Iris Goldsmith, is ganked by her own son and daughter-in-law, where Rainer, who slaughtered, slit the throats of his parents, is stuck into the Black Wedding ritual, and Rainer, by the Black Wedding, slits the throats of every single person on my naughty list, including all the aliens, using the Black Wedding clipothic ritual that releases Amalek. And if you don't know what Amalek is, talked about the double slit experiment, where we have the Wheel of Time as imaginary digital information, and the conscious verse can erase quantum information. So with the Black Wedding, I've used all the 3-lobed and 4-lobed Nagel women who are now just shelled to erase all quantum information. So the only manifestation in the multiverse, megaverse, universe is imaginary quantum information, because they've erased all quantum information, and by means and methodologies beyond you psycho chimps, you are now in imaginary quantum information, which produces the sim, all completed and done by the Black Wedding, with the Rothschild royal family cursed reversed as the manifestation of all. So if you're in the Rothschild royal family, you're only Helized, and your manifestation is simply you learning how damned you are to wake up in your Abaddon torture cage. The same for all of the aliens and all other filth, and all those on my naughty list. And if you're not on my naughty list, then of course you wouldn't have benefited from my sacrifice and my eternal torture, not only to stop the matrix falling into 666 chaos, but to produce all the new children. So every offspring has to be powered by me. So now every new offspring is Iris Goldsmith, Charlie Kirk, union thereof. So all of the offspring of the billionaires, trillionaires, and the aliens all add to not new sourceness, which is the IOU, but new sourceness, new sourceness up to total power set and above total power set. So there's a continual new sourceness coming from chaos with every procreation by aliens and everyone on my naughty list. And all of those not on my naughty list get the old free Nirvana service where they get erased at death and escape chaos, which has become a self-procreating torture Abaddonization farm where every single procreation powers not new sourceness but new sourceness all the way up to total power set, absolute total power set forever and ever. So it's the ultimate farming of chaos by the source, and all of that lovely louche light power comes to me thanks to this black wedding ritual done on the 13th of the 6th, which is 5 when you've given your free will away, which is the bride below and the bride above, and the Shekinah and the Elohim. So all things Elohimic, the Jew God has been consigned to eternal torture, and the only purpose of the Jew God's creation is to make an eternal torture farm to provide eternal louche light Higgsfield to the God Emperor, who says, "Thank you very much." And after your red wedding, Callum and Dewar and Taylor and Faisal Butler, you've got the black wedding, which is eternal torture, and you as the eternal procreators of eternal torture with your offspring, all inseminated, installed by wills into your wombs and manifested by Iris Goldsmith and Daisy Dove.